Good afternoon. I want to welcome you on behalf of the Supreme Court of the state of Oklahoma to this very special occasion. And we have a little competition, but we'll all speak up. The first thing I want to do before we start our ceremony is to recognize a wonderful young woman, Miss Elizabeth Chambers, who is going to come forward and sing the national anthem. So I'm going to ask everyone to rise as you are able, please.
Early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. Please be seated. Well, I want to welcome you again into this historic courtroom. There'll be a little more discussed about that later by our new justice, but I just want you to know that we have not been in this space for over a year. There has been a complete historic restoration and repainting of the courtroom. It is really an amazing, beautiful space. We are so honored and privileged to be part of the court and to be able to call this our home. And so we welcome you to our home today and to celebrate with us on this great day. I want to recognize first my bench. And my name is Noma Gurich. I'm the Chief Justice, and I am from Oklahoma City. On my right is Vice Chief Justice Richard Darby from Duke, Oklahoma. On my left is Justice Yvonne Cogger from Colony, Oklahoma. On the next to my right, on the other side of Vice Chief, is Justice James Winchester from Chickasha, Oklahoma. On my left, past Justice Cogger, is Justice Edmondson's spot, and he sends his regrets today. He was unable to attend. Then on my right, past Justice Winchester, is Justice Tom Colbert from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And on my left, by his lonesome down there, is Justice Douglas Combs from Shawnee, Oklahoma. I also want to recognize some of our retired justices who are here today, Justice Joseph Watt and Justice John Reif, and we appreciate their attendance. I also want to introduce our Justice Designate, Dustin Rowe, and his wife, Nicole, that are here on the front. I also want to introduce a number of other special guests. If I miss you, don't feel lonely. There are a lot of important people in this room, but I want to be sure first and recognize Governor Kevin Stitt and his wife. Thank you very much for being here. We also have statewide elected official, our Labor Commissioner, Leslie Osborne, I know that we have at least one member of the legislature here. I know Representative Kennedy is here, and there may be others. If there are others from the legislature, would you please stand? All right. I will also then, I also want to recognize from our Court of Criminal Appeals, we have Presiding Judge David Lewis, and we also have other members, Vice Presiding Judge Dana Keene, also Judge Gary Lumpkin, Judge Robert Hudson, and Judge Scott Rowland. We also have from the Court of Civil Appeals, Chief Judge Gorey and Judges Bell and Barnes. I think those were the ones that I recognized. We also have a member of the federal judiciary, Judge Patrick Wyrick. It's kind of hard to say judge. You at one time were sitting up here with us, but welcome back. We also have a number of members of the district court bench. I know Justice Kane has been a longtime member of the district court bench, and he is very gratified to have you here. Why don't I have all the district judges stand? Thank you all very much for being here in attendance. All right, next I want to recognize, I don't think I've missed anybody. I know we have Bar Association, John Morris Williams, Executive Director's here. I know the OBA President, Susan Shields, is here. We have members of the Board of Bar Examiners also in attendance. Thank you. I want to this time recognize Governor Stitt for a few remarks.
Thank you so much. You know, it's an honor to be here with you today, not only because this is my first swearing in of my selection to the Oklahoma State Supreme Court, but because this ceremony is about you, Justice John Kane, a man known for his excellence, his integrity, and his faith. Justice Kane comes from a long line of outstanding legal minds. His great-grandfather was a member of the Oklahoma Constitutional Convention and a justice on Oklahoma's early state Supreme Court. And when I was interviewing the different candidates and speaking with Justice Kane, he told me that it was always a dream of his when he was a little boy. He read about his great-grandfather, he read some of his writings, and it was always a dream that he would also be on the state Supreme Court. So it was my honor when I got to call him, and I said, today, I'm going to get choked up talking about it. I said, today, what God put in your heart as a little boy, I'm going to call you and tell you you're on the state Supreme Court. So it's truly, it was a special moment for me. I hope it was for you as well. Justice Kane, he's the right kind of jurist for this role. He's going to interpret the laws and the Oklahoma Constitution in the way it was intended to be interpreted. He's not going to make law from the bench based on his own personal opinions. He carries a deep conviction for the vital role a jurist is to play to protect our state and ensure it has a strong future ahead. Most importantly, Justice Kane was the best choice as he represents the value and the people of Oklahoma. He's known for his leadership, both in his community and his church. Kane is known for his fairness and his passion to ensure the legal system is truly serving the needs of the people. So it is my honor to welcome him and to thank him for his service to our great state. Oklahoma is proud of you, and we're so thankful to have you serve on this great bench. So thank you so much.
All right, with no further ado, I will meet you at the podium, Justice Kane.
That I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly
and that I will not knowingly
receive directly or indirectly
receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable thing
any money or other valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office
pertaining to my office
other than the compensation
other than the compensation
allowed by law.
allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
my duties
my duties
as Justice
as Justice
of the Supreme Court of Oklahoma
of the Supreme Court of Oklahoma
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right. Well, how do you top that, right? First, I want to thank. First of all, I want to thank everyone for working their way through our work in progress here at the Capitol. You can see the glimmer that foretells how wonderful the entire place is going to be when we're finished by the fact that they've been able to finish this room. But hold that thought. I want to. First of all, note that I am representing the part of Oklahoma that had been represented by our retired Justice Reif, and it's a real pleasure and a privilege to count him as a friend, and he's been called as a special justice a couple of times, so I've even had the opportunity to count him as a colleague, and I want to thank him one more time for his service. And I'll also recognize that I won't be the new kid on the block for very long. And I want to promise Dustin that anything that I have figured out that I stepped in and shouldn't have, I'll try to steer you clear of that as best I can, buddy. And I don't know, do we have any people from the Judicial Nominating Commission that are present here today? Jerry's pointing somewhere. And, well, whoever's here, thank you for your service. I was asked during the interview, what my thoughts about the JNC process was, and I said, well, first of all, I think it's wonderful policy to have a vetting process, but that I understood that serving on the Judicial Nominating Commission is kind of like serving on some of these boards that you can serve on where people don't usually walk up to you to say, hey, I just wanted to seek you out to tell you how well I think things are going. They usually seek you out for other reasons and say, well, I wish you'd done this, or why didn't you do that? So it's a thankless job, but today I'm going to say thank you. I want to, of course, recognize, I know that some of the applicants that joined me in this process are here today. I know that Judge Vaclaw had to be out of state, and so he gave his regrets. He would have been here. I actually was working with Judge Barnes on something this morning. Did she make it over here? I'm not sure if she's here or not, but, oh, welcome. And I saw our new presiding judge for the Northeast District, Sheila Condren, is present. Linda, did Linda make it? Linda was going. There's Linda Thomas, and then we had Judge Bandy. I don't know if Judge Bandy was going to be able to make it or not, but he's also a dear friend and someone that I have great confidence in. And then was Sarah able to make it, Ms. Lepak? She's from a fantastic. Her family, like mine, has a lot of Oklahoma in its DNA. They've given a lot to this great state, and it was a real pleasure to have her as part of the process. I've got all kinds of friends here. I've got folks from, as I said, the Northeastern District, which is 8 counties that I've had the privilege of presiding over for a time. I see some Osage County folk here. I see people from my faith community here. I see people from our homeschool community here. I can't possibly pick all you out and thank you right now, but hold that thought too. And I also want to thank very, very profoundly the folks that work so hard to make this room ready today. It was deja vu all over again for my family. We were having our hardwood floors refinished in our church the day before Meg and Stephen got married a couple of months ago, and it had the same feeling today where we were sweeping up sawdust this morning getting ready for this. So I want to thank the Capitol construction crew for their endless work, and let's give them a hand. All right. There was some reference to my family history. The governor pointed that out. I was talking to a couple of my friends about my path, and I was talking specifically to Dan Langdon and Chris Service. I don't know if I'm hoping they made it here, but I explained to them my family history. And Dan said, so what you're saying is that this state's in your bones. And I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. Here's my demonstrative exhibit. All right. We were going to have an easel for this, but again, the construction had us a little distracted. But the fella in the middle is Matthew J. Kane the first. And he was on Oklahoma's first Supreme Court, and when this photograph was taken, he served as the Chief Justice. And when this building was dedicated 10 years after statehood in 1917, he was the keynote speaker that spoke and made comments about what this building means to our state. That was 1917. And now 102 years later, another Matthew John Kane is using this room again for the first time, and so we've come full circle. I've got 4 kids. Well, before I get to the kids, I want to thank my mom for giving me my siblings, because I think that's the greatest gift she probably ever gave me, was my siblings. Paul and Tracy have always been totally supportive of everything that I've ever tried to do, and I feel like the scales are way out of whack. They've done a lot more for me than I'll ever be able to do for them, and thank you guys. I appreciate you. And I gave each of my kids the gift of siblings as well. I've got 4 kids. We have, let's see here. We got Matthew with his bride Mallory, and Chief Justice Kane's great grandchild, Sophie Adeline Kane, is here with us. She was singing a little bit before the Star Spangled Banner. And then we have Meg and her handsome husband, Stephen. And then we have my Oklahoma State man, Patrick. And then we have our musician that you guys will hear at the reception, Philip. So thank you guys for being here. But I have a lot more to be thankful for to my mother than just my siblings. I am a fourth generation Oklahoma attorney. And that's a lawyer family that Mom married into. And it's being a lawyer's wife is a hard calling. She was just remarkable in raising three kids that all have at least in my opinion, a compass that points north, that points true. And that's the greatest achievement that I think that any parent can have. And Mom, I'm so happy you're here. And I'm so happy that I have the chance in front of a bunch of people to just tell everybody that I've got the best mom in the world. And thank you. And finally, well, I need to get involved in just a little bit of Latin in honor of the late Justice Opala, who never said anything in English that could be said in Latin, and that is there's a phrase that I have come to know through law, and it deals with the proof of causation, and it's called, and pardon the pronunciation, I'm from Pawhuska, but I believe it's something like sine qua non, and it means literally without which not. And what it means is that there are some things in this world that can't happen without something else being an essential element. And ever since I met Cindy Jane Winston, she's been my sine qua non. There's nothing good in my life that's happened since I met her that she was not an integral part of. And as I mentioned about my mom, being a lawyer's wife is not an easy task, and she was there through all that. Being a judge's wife is not an easy task, and she was there through all of that. When you're a judge, you're not at liberty to discuss what it is that weighs on your heart. That's a path that you take upon yourself to carry by yourself. And sometimes when you have something heavy on your heart, you're not the easiest person to live with. And she has endured me beautifully, and our kids are a wonderful testament to her fine qualities as a mother as well. Again, she is the straw that stirs the drink in our house. People that, for example, people that know me but don't know her, when they heard that I'd been appointed to the Supreme Court, they said things like, "That's spectacular." And people that knew Cindy but didn't know me said, "Well, that seems about right." So I want to thank you for that. And finally, I want to mention that we will have a reception over at the Judicial Center, and you're going to have to make a trek from here to the Judicial Center. And I'm going to admit that I've been to many swearing-ins where I was there for the big moment and said, "Okay, check," and I went home. And I'm gonna ask you, don't be John Kane. Don't be that guy. A lot of the time, I didn't go over there because I thought, you know what, they've got all this stuff going on, and they're not going to have time, or they don't want to stop and give me a moment. I want to stop and give each one of you a moment, and so I invite you to come over. And plus, we're going to have some wonderful music, and plus, we're going to have the Christmas tree lighting here in a little while. So come over and say hi to us, and then you can go over to the Christmas tree lighting and just make a big old day of it. So with those thoughts, thank you all very much.
very much. It's a pleasure to welcome you, Justice Kane, to the bench. We haven't been up here in a little while, and it's nice to have the bench filling up, and it'll be really nice to have a full slate of justices coming soon to a Supreme Court near you. So I want to again thank everyone. This is a wonderful day. Thank you for coming here and enjoying in this wonderful event, this celebration, for allowing us to host you here in this beautiful space. We would like to host you also over in the beautiful space that is across the street to the east. It is the former Historical Society. So you come in, you can stay parked, or you can move over that direction and come in the front steps. There's an elevator for those that need it. We will be on the 3rd floor of that building. There are elevators or stairs if you wish to take the stairs in that building. It is also a lovely building that our Senior Justice Siobhan Cogger is primarily responsible for over a career of 25 years. And we certainly appreciate that we have that space also to use and to office in. So we'd love for you to come, and we will take attendance, so Justice Kane will know who was not there. So this is all being filmed, you know. So anyway, if there's nothing further, then we are adjourned.
All rise.